I'm Cathryn Lewis. I'm Professor of Genetic Epidemiology and Statistics at King's College London.
Hi, I'm Andrew McIntosh. I'm a psychiatrist and Professor of Psychiatry from the University of Edinburgh. Together with Cathryn Lewis, I co-chair the Major Depressive Disorder Working Group of the PGC.
Our work group studies major depressive disorder. Now, that's an incredibly important disorder because depression is one of the major causes of lifelong ill health in people. It has a prevalence of about 15%, so about 1 in 7 people are likely to develop depression during their lifetime. And we have very little idea of why some people develop depression and other people don't.
So our work compares people who've got depression with people that don't. And what we're trying to do is identify the genetic changes that are associated with a greater risk of depression.
And what we hope with our genetic findings is that we can get some insights into the disease, that we can get some idea of what the underlying causes are. And of course, if we know the underlying causes, then that may give us ideas of how to treat it better.
Genetic risk factors for depression tell us something about the workings of cells and receptors and what drugs are likely to help treat the underlying disorder. So the genetic changes themselves, if you like, are instructions for cells on how to build proteins. And we can sometimes design drugs that interact with the proteins that are implicated by our genetic studies. If you were to do a large study of people affected by lung cancer, you'd most likely identify genes that are associated with a propensity to smoke more cigarettes. And we know that smoking cigarettes is more likely to cause lung cancer if you do it for long enough. So we can adopt a similar method in studies of depression, because by identifying genetic risk factors for the disorder, we are seeking to identify the behaviours and environments that people with the disorder are more likely to be exposed to. And in doing so, we can hopefully identify ways in which we can prevent the disorder occurring altogether in the future.
2017 has been a really exciting year for depression genetics. We've been struggling for a very long time to find individual genetic variants that are associated with depression. It's been much harder to find them for depression than it has been for schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, for example. But in 2017, we've really made breakthroughs, and we now have identified 44 different genetic variants that contribute to depression. Now, each of those only has a very minor contribution to disease risk, and we know that there are many, many more variants to find. But this initial crop of genes that we've identified has really given us incredible enthusiasm that we can go on and find more and more of the genetics that underlies depression.
In the meantime, though, we're working towards our next release from our working group, and we hope to have well over 500,000 people in our next paper. And this will enable us to identify more genetic risk factors for depression and be able to predict the genetic risk factor for people who aren't in our studies with greater precision than we've done so far.